Hey guys, Michelle Hasey Thompson here, coming to you live. Today we're going to be talking about the things that we are often not saying out loud, but we're all feeling them when it comes to struggling with weight and with food. The hard part about this whole weight food thing is that it's a collective issue, meaning more people are struggling with this stuff than are not. Like it is not the matter of just one random person, like you're the one random outlier who can't figure this stuff out and everyone else just follows all the rules with diets and weight loss and all of that and they do just fine. And sometimes we feel like we're the only person on the planet who just can't seem to get their you know what together and make this work and fix it for good. And it feels really isolated, it feels really lonely, and it causes us a lot of the time to disconnect. Like, for example, we might not want to see people. We don't want people to see that we gained the weight back. We don't want people to think less of us. We don't want people to think that we're out of control. We can't get our life under control. I've even seen this with women who are in more like high-powered positions or in a position where they think they should have all their stuff together and they don't have this weight stuff figured out. And they're like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm struggling. Because it comes down, they think it comes down on my ability to communicate that I'm actually a competent person. Because if I can't figure out this weight stuff, I'm obviously not competent, is a lot of times how they feel. But what's so weird about it is that it's not an isolated issue, it's a collective issue. And one of the big things that is happening underneath all this weight stuff, so because we see people and we see their bodies and we see, oh, they gained weight, they lost weight, they're on a diet, they're not on a diet, and then we make a lot of assumptions about what's going on or why that's happening or why something's not happening, and we have a whole story about it. Unfortunately, though, what's underneath all this weight stuff that people aren't really talking about really publicly are the issues with food that come about in response to all this weight stuff. Like people might joke around like, yeah, my parents told me I had to clean my plate, or people might joke around with, oh, I'm full, but I'm going to keep eating, or yeah, I'm going to have dessert even though I'm not, not hungry. And there might be little jabs like that. And usually when those things are said, everybody just sort of joins in to make that person feel comfortable. Like, oh yeah, no, totally, I would eat dessert too. Or yeah, I'm doing it as well. Like, good for you. Like, there's not really a big discussion about like, well, not that you would say this, but how is that making you feel? Is that really what you want? Is that getting you to your goals? Like, you'd probably get smacked across the face if you said that. I'm not suggesting that you do say that. My point is that there's something that we're not saying out loud to each other, and we're all collectively feeling it when we struggle with weight and food. And real quick, if you like what you're hearing and you want me to know more about what's going on with you and your weight and your food, or you don't want to talk about it, or you don't want anybody to know, then I'm happy to be the person to hear you and listen to you and understand you from a non-judgmental perspective and not tell you to count your calories or whatever. And so if you want me to do that, it's totally free. Just go to speakwithmichelle.com. So the things that we're not saying out loud is that there is a great deal of shame happening. For myself, what that would look like is I would act as if everything was fine. I mean, everybody knew I was trying to lose weight. I talked about it all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm trying out this diet, I'm trying out this exercise routine, I'm doing this, this, and that. And so it was no secret that I was trying to lose weight. But what was a secret was where all my shame was. And where all my shame was that people didn't know that I felt completely out of control around food, that I would go home and eat bowls of cereal, that I would go home and I wouldn't buy the food that I didn't want to binge on. And so this is in my early 20s, so I was stealing food from my roommates that they bought that I wouldn't buy because that's how desperate I was to eat. And that after dinner I would eat and eat and eat, and that I would be afraid to go to social situations because I didn't know if I would stop eating and people would find out my big secret that I'm totally weak and pathetic. And there's all this shame surrounding my relationship with food. Like the weight thing, I felt like I discussed pretty openly, and some people do and some people don't. But I do think it's a larger conversation happening at a collective level. But I don't think a lot of people are talking about what's going on with food behind closed doors. And so they feel like, and this is what people tell me, like they feel like they're the only one. Like that they have this problem with food. They're the only people on the planet. Like they're completely crazy and out of control and insane. And everyone else, even the people struggling with weight, don't have these issues. And we might not think that on a conscious level, or I mean, we might know on a subconscious level that's not true, but that conversation about shame is so prominent that it's really hard to dive into that. And so we have this shame, and shame survives in secrecy. And so what we do to get rid of shame is we talk about it. Now, it's really helpful when you talk to someone who has also had that experience. Like if they, for example, if they come to you and say, hey, like, I don't really want to tell anybody this. I'm super embarrassed. I'm feeling really bad about it, but I can't stop binge eating. I can't stop whatever. I'm feeling out of control, whatever, however it comes off. And then it's like, there's the invitation, right? To be like, oh my God, me too. And I don't know if you've had this happen, maybe not with weight and food, but if you've had people come to you and say, you know what, I don't really talk about this a lot, but like I'm kind of having this experience and I don't know, I feel really weird about it, or whatever they say, I'm feeling really this about it. And you're like, me too. I totally felt that. And then it's just like, oh, like the weight lifted off your shoulders. But unfortunately, there are people out there who you will come to and be like, look, like be really vulnerable and be like, look, this is what's going on. I'm feeling really, ashamed about it or guilty about it or embarrassed about it. And they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not good. Or so they feel judged. They'll judge you, or they have no empathy. So they're like, I don't know. I can't relate. I wouldn't do that. And that's the worst. That just makes you want to hide even more. Now, in our society that does a lot of fat shaming, that's kind of the space we're in. Like we're almost afraid to talk about it because everyone's shaming people for dealing with weight. If you like what you're hearing, by the way, speakwithmichelle.com for free. I will totally jump on a call with you and be that ear for you to talk about what's going on in your life that you might be feeling ashamed about. So the problem with that is then we hide more. And so there's a lot of people who are isolating themselves in their homes, feeling the same thing that you're feeling the same thing that most people are feeling like, what's wrong with me that I can't figure this out? What is going on inside of my life, my body, my perspective that I can't seem to get this weight stuff under wraps? Like I don't have enough willpower. I don't have enough discipline. I don't have enough motivation or commitment. Something's wrong with me. And then like 17,000 other people are having that exact same thought, but nobody's talking about it. So you feel really lonely and isolated because what we do hear, what we do see are a bunch of people who just seemingly effortlessly work out, eat healthy, have it all together, or they can afford to pay people to make them do that stuff, like in terms of celebrities. And so we kind of just think like, it's my struggle. Like other people have it figured out. And people that have never struggled with this, by the way, when they see people that struggle, that's what they assume. Like, why can't they just figure it out? Why can't they just eat less and move more? What's the problem? It's so simple. Nobody really understands unless they've been in your shoes what's really going on and how this whole weight and food stuff is a response or reaction to something else entirely, completely, potentially unrelated to weight and food. But nobody's really talking about it. So I want to bring this conversation to the forefront. I want you to feel like you can talk about this. Now, if you don't have someone in your life that you feel comfortable kind of exposing your deep, dark secrets, the things you're ashamed about with weight and food or whatever, I can be that person for you, and I'm happy to be that person for you so you feel like you have an outlet to talk about this. By the way, I hear pretty much the same things from every person, so there's probably nothing you can say that would shock me or that I haven't heard before, and it's really nice to know, like, oh, this is normal. If you're struggling with weight and food because of the dieting world, if you've tried all the diets and failed, you're actually normal. You're human. It's normal, and so it's nice to know that. On top of that, the solutions to fix it are not what we're hearing in the media, not what we're hearing in the masses, and you deserve to know what that is. And it's too much to explain right now. However, I hope to give you some pieces of that in the next month or so here on these lives. But if you want me to hear what's going on with you personally, that's why I'm here over at speakwithmichelle.com to help you out. But I want you to think about, what are the things that you wouldn't want anybody to know? Where are your deepest secrets and shame, and where can you start to expose that to people who you feel safe and comfortable with, so that you hear them, especially people that are struggling with weight and food? Because I guarantee if you start telling them, like the other day I ate like a full dinner and it was totally full, and then I ate like 6 bags of popcorn and 10 cookies, they're gonna be like, I've done it. Done it, been there, did it last night actually. Like you're gonna hear you're not the only one. And if that you don't have that, then like I said, I'm here for you. But I want you to feel like you can bring that shame out of the closet and expose it so that it's not hiding in the dark anymore and you don't feel so isolated and disconnected. We know from the research that social isolation, feeling disconnected, is actually more hazardous to your health than obesity. It causes more mortality than obesity. It's a problem. So disconnecting yourself, isolating yourself, it's a problem. And we'll talk more about that in later lives. But I just want you to know that this is the time where you can, first of all, you're not the only one feeling this. I felt this, and everyone I talked to has felt this. So you're not alone in feeling this, and there's no reason to feel ashamed about it, although that's how you feel, and I get that, but you're not alone. So bring it out in the dark, start talking to people about this stuff, or talk to me about it, and start to connect back with your body, with people, with the world. This is a collective issue. You're not alone. All right, so for more information, speakwithmichelle.com. I'd love to hear more about what's going on with your body, your weight, your food, so I can help you out. And until then, I'll come to you live after the weekend. Thanks, guys.